Americans consume over 1.5 billion pounds of potato chips every year. I mean, that's enough to circle the earth twice if laid end to end. But those familiar bags from chain restaurants can pack over 400 milligrams of sodium and a cocktail of oils that hit your arteries harder than your cravings. Today, I'm exposing 5 chains serving chips that could spike your blood pressure and compromise your health. But stick around and hit that subscribe button because we'll also reveal 3 chains that actually get chips right. Let's start with the most shocking one. Number 1. McDonald's. McDonald's, the chain synonymous with fast food consistency, serves chips that represent everything wrong with industrial snack production. What most customers don't realize is that those chips sitting next to your burger aren't simply sliced potatoes, they're ultra-processed bagged products supplied by mass manufacturers identical to what you'd find in a gas station at 2 a.m. The sodium content alone should make you pause. A single small bag delivers over 170 milligrams of sodium. Pair that with a Big Mac at 1,010 milligrams and large fries at 400 milligrams, and one meal just pushed you past 1,580 milligrams. That's nearly 70% of the American Heart Association's recommended daily limit in a single sitting. For older adults managing blood pressure or anyone on heart medication, that's not a side item, it's a medical risk. But sodium is just the surface problem. These chips are cooked in vegetable oil blends heavy in omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-6s aren't inherently bad, the ratio matters. Most Americans already consume far too much omega-6 relative to omega-3, creating an inflammatory environment in the body. That inflammation worsens joint pain, increases cardiovascular stress, and interferes with medication effectiveness. McDonald's chips aren't just salty, they're chemically designed for shelf stability, not your health. The ingredient list reads like a chemistry experiment. Modified food starch, maltodextrin, dextrose for color stabilization, and preservatives to extend shelf life. You're not eating potatoes, you're eating engineered starch products flavored to taste like potatoes. Former supply chain workers have openly discussed how these chips can sit in warehouses for weeks before ever reaching a restaurant. That's why they need all those additives. Real food doesn't survive that timeline. Number 2. Subway. Subway positions itself as the healthier fast food choice, the fresh alternative to greasy burgers and fries. That health halo extends to everything on their menu, including the chips displayed near the register. But those bags are hiding the same ultra-processed formulations you'd find at any convenience store, just with better lighting and marketing. The vegetable oil blends used in these chips are rich in omega-6 fatty acids, the same inflammatory oils driving chronic disease when consumed in excess. Pair those chips with a sandwich loaded with processed meats like salami or pepperoni, both already high in sodium, and you've stacked a sodium bomb that hits your system all at once. For older adults, that combination can cause fluid retention, dizziness, and dangerously elevated blood pressure within hours. What makes Subway's chips particularly deceptive is the portion illusion. The bags look small, so customers assume they're making a reasonable choice. But those small bags still carry 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium and offer virtually zero nutritional value. No fiber, minimal protein, and nothing that actually fills you up. You finish the bag and you're still hungry, only now with a spike in blood pressure and inflammation to show for it. The real betrayal is trust. People walk into Subway thinking they're making a smart choice, ordering a sandwich with vegetables and skipping the fried options. Then they grab those chips without a second thought, assuming Subway's health-focused branding extends to everything they sell. It doesn't. Those chips are the same mass-produced junk food engineered for maximum shelf life and minimum cost. Subway isn't offering you a healthier snack, they're offering you the illusion of one.
Number 3. Burger King. Burger King's chips come with the convenience of combo meals and the nostalgia of childhood visits. But what arrives in that bag represents one of the worst chip experiences in the chain restaurant world. These aren't freshly made. They're sitting under heat lamps, exposed to reheated oil residue, and maintained through a cocktail of additives designed to mask staleness. The refined vegetable oils used to cook these chips break down quickly under heat. When chips sit for hours under warming lights, those oils oxidize, creating harmful compounds that can be toxic when consumed regularly. Research shows oxidized fats increase bad cholesterol, decrease good cholesterol, and significantly raise cardiovascular disease risk. You're not just eating old chips, you're eating chemically degraded fats that your body struggles to process. Sodium density becomes even worse when you pair Burger King chips with their burgers. A Whopper alone contains 980 milligrams of sodium. Add a bag of chips at roughly 180 milligrams, and you've consumed over 1,160 milligrams before touching your drink or dessert. For anyone managing hypertension or taking blood pressure medication, that's a dangerous spike that can cause immediate symptoms like headaches, flushing, and heart palpitations. The lack of ingredient transparency makes informed choices nearly impossible. Walk into a Burger King and try asking what oils they use or how long chips sit before being served. Most employees won't know, and the company doesn't make that information readily available in stores. That opacity should concern anyone who cares about what they're putting in their body. When a chain can't or won't tell you what's in their food, that's not customer service. That's a red flag.
Number 4. KFC. KFC built its empire on fried chicken, and that same industrial frying system processes their chips. What sounds convenient, one fryer for everything, actually creates serious contamination and quality issues that affect everyone who orders chips alongside their chicken. Those chips are cooked in the same oil used for breaded chicken items, meaning they absorb flavours and compounds from meat products. For anyone with dietary restrictions, allergies or religious food requirements, that cross-contamination isn't just inconvenient, it's a violation of trust. But the problem goes deeper than flavour transfer. Shared oil means faster degradation and higher levels of oxidised fats with every batch. KFC locations often reuse oil for extended periods, sometimes for days at a time. That repeated heating creates trans fats and other harmful compounds that survive even after FDA regulations banned artificial trans fats. Natural trans fats form when oils break down under sustained high heat. These increase cholesterol, clog arteries, and contribute to heart disease just as aggressively as the banned varieties. The sodium content in KFC chips stacks dangerously with their notoriously salty chicken. A single piece of original recipe chicken carries around 1,140 milligrams of sodium. Add chips at approximately 160 milligrams, and a typical meal easily exceeds the recommended daily sodium intake. For seniors or anyone managing cardiovascular health, that's not just a meal, it's medication interference waiting to happen. Health inspection reports at KFC locations frequently cite problems with oil temperature control and cleanliness. When frying oil isn't maintained at proper temperatures, harmful bacteria can survive and contaminate everything cooked in that oil. The chips become a vehicle for more than just sodium and bad fats. They become a potential food safety hazard.
Number 5. Domino's. Domino's positions chips as a party food, something to share during game nights and casual gatherings. That social framing makes portion tracking nearly impossible and hides serious allergen risks that have triggered actual FDA recalls. These chips are heavily seasoned with cheese powders and flavor enhancers that often contain undeclared milk proteins. In 2018, several Frito-Lay products, including chips sold at major chains, were recalled due to undeclared milk allergens that could trigger severe reactions in dairy-sensitive consumers. That wasn't an isolated incident. It exposed systemic failures in how seasoning suppliers handle allergen controls across the entire supply chain. The sodium content becomes particularly dangerous during social eating. When chips sit in a shared bowl, no one tracks servings. One handful turns into 5, and suddenly you've consumed 400 to 600 milligrams of sodium without realizing it. Pair that with pizza, which already carries 600 to 800 milligrams per slice, and a casual evening just delivered a cardiovascular assault. MSG, monosodium glutamate, appears in some Domino's chip varieties, and while most people tolerate it, a subset of consumers report headaches, palpitations, and flushing after consumption. For older adults on multiple medications or those with fragile cardiovascular systems, adding dietary triggers that can spike blood pressure or cause heart rhythm issues isn't worth the convenience. Trust breaks down when shared food becomes a hidden health risk, and Domino's chips represent exactly that betrayal. 3 that are great. Not all chains are racing to the bottom. 3 prove it's possible to serve chips that actually taste like food without compromising your health. These restaurants prioritize quality over cost-cutting and transparency over marketing tricks.
Five Guys. Five Guys stands out because you can see the process. Fresh cut potatoes delivered daily, cooked on site in peanut oil that's changed regularly. There's no mystery, no ingredient list longer than your arm, just potatoes, peanut oil, and salt. Peanut oil offers superior stability under high heat compared to vegetable oil blends. It doesn't oxidize as quickly, which means fewer harmful compounds and better flavor retention. The fat profile is also more favorable, with higher monounsaturated fats that support heart health rather than undermining it. You're still eating fried food, but the quality difference is measurable and meaningful. The visible process builds trust. You walk into Five Guys and you can watch employees cutting potatoes and dropping them into fresh oil. That transparency matters. When a chain has nothing to hide, they don't hide anything. The result is chips that actually taste like potatoes, not like the chemical dust and preservatives that dominate mass-produced alternatives. Consumer control extends to portion awareness. Five Guys doesn't trick you with small bags that disappear in 3 bites. They serve generous portions, but the simplicity of ingredients means you're less likely to experience the addictive craving loop engineered into heavily processed chips. You eat, you feel satisfied, and you're done.
In and out. In and Out has resisted industry pressure to switch to frozen products for decades, and their chips prove that commitment pays off. Whole potatoes delivered fresh, cut in-store daily, and cooked in sunflower oil with nothing but salt for seasoning. The ingredient's simplicity eliminates the preservative load that stresses your liver and kidneys. No modified food starch, no maltodextrin, no dextrose for color stabilization. Just 3 ingredients you can recognize and pronounce. For anyone managing multiple medications or chronic conditions, that reduced chemical burden matters more than most people realize. Sunflower oil provides a cleaner fat profile than the vegetable oil blends used by mass producers. It's lower in saturated fats and offers a better omega-6 to omega-3 ratio when consumed in moderation. The oil is changed regularly and maintained at proper temperatures, preventing the oxidation and trans fat formation that plague chains with lower standards. The consistency you get at In and Out doesn't come from engineering or additives. It comes from standardized processes and quality control that respects the ingredients. Every location follows the same preparation methods using the same simple recipe. That's how you achieve reliability without resorting to chemistry.
3. Local independent chippy-style chains.
Local independent chippy-style chains represent the best option for anyone serious about knowing what they're eating. These smaller operations can't hide behind corporate supply chains or afford the shortcuts that big chains use to maximize profits. Short supply chains mean fewer preservatives. When potatoes travel from a local farm to a nearby kitchen, they don't need chemical treatments to survive weeks in warehouses and distribution centers. The chips you eat were likely cut that morning or the day before, not weeks ago in a factory 3 states away. Single oil use eliminates cross-contamination concerns. Local kitchens typically dedicate fryers to specific items, so chips don't absorb flavors or compounds from chicken, fish, or other fried foods. The oil is changed more frequently because smaller operations can't afford the reputational damage of serving old, degraded products. No seasoning blends means no hidden allergens or flavor enhancers. What you see is what you get: potatoes, oil, and salt. If you want more flavor, you add it yourself with ketchup, vinegar, or hot sauce. That transparency empowers you to control exactly what enters your body, a luxury you don't get at chains selling pre-seasoned, pre-packaged products. You vote with your money every time you choose where to eat. Local kitchens respond directly to customer feedback because their survival depends on community support. They can't afford to cut corners or ignore complaints the way massive corporations can. That accountability creates better food and safer eating experiences for everyone.
After analysing these 5 chains, a disturbing pattern emerges. The worst chips all share the same DNA: excessive processing, inflammatory oils, sodium overload, and ingredient lists that read like chemistry experiments. These chains have decided that cost-cutting and shelf life matter more than your health. The industrial food system prioritizes consistency and profit margins over nutrition. Potatoes are treated with chemicals, partially cooked, frozen, and shipped across the country before being finished in oil that's often days old. By the time those chips reach your plate, they barely resemble the vegetables they started as. When chains grow too large, quality control collapses under the weight of scale. A single supplier contamination can affect millions of bags across dozens of states. A cost-cutting decision at corporate headquarters ripples through thousands of locations, and customers pay the price with their health.
The next time you're ordering at a chain restaurant, remember you have choices. You don't have to settle for engineered snack products just because they come with your meal. Ask what oil is used. Ask how long chips have been sitting. If the staff can't answer or the chain won't disclose, that tells you everything you need to know. Skip chains with zero ingredient transparency. Avoid places where chips come from central suppliers rather than in-house preparation. Treat chips as food, not filler, and demand the same quality standards you'd apply to any other part of your meal. The worst chips sell convenience and nostalgia while delivering inflammation and health risks. The best chips sell honesty, transparency, and ingredients you can actually recognize. Your blood pressure, your heart, and your long-term health depend on knowing the difference. If this video helped you understand what's really in those chain restaurant chip bags, share it with someone who still thinks all chips are the same. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and choose your chips wisely.